Hello, hello, hello. I am Dr. Sharita Weatherspoon, founder and CEO of Powerhouse Coaching and Mission Critical Consulting, filling in today for Pastor Jerome Lewis on the Coach's Corner. I'm excited to share with you today and pray that this information will help you to gain momentum in your life, moving you closer to living the life you desire to live. Today we're going to talk about how to move from dreaming to doing. Now, if you don't have paper and pen handy, I want you to press pause, go grab something to write with, because there are a few things I'm going to ask you to write down. All right. Now, you've probably heard people talk about dreams and goals before. You know that goals are dreams with a due date, or a goal isn't a goal until it's written down. You know about SMART goals, how a goal must be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timed. You probably know that you have to have a plan for accomplishing your goals. You know all of this, but yet you may still somehow have difficulty accomplishing what you want to accomplish in your life. And that's not to say that you're not accomplishing anything or experiencing any progress in your life, but how much of that is really what you want, what you desire, what you dream about, and how much of that is based on the expectations that other people place on you, or the obligations that you feel you have, or even a result of being stuck on a specific path that you no longer want to be on. When I was younger, I had a lot of dreams and goals. Then as an adult, there was a period of time where I was just kind of following this career path wherever it would take me, until I realized that I wanted something different, something better than what I was experiencing. I realized that while I had accomplished a lot, there were a lot of things that I desired to do, even that I was called to do, that I had not yet accomplished. But I made my SMART goals. I wrote them down, I made a plan, but I still had not accomplished a lot of the things that I wanted to accomplish. And why not? I did everything the experts said I should do, but the dreams didn't become reality, and my goals were still way off in the distance. At this point, I started to do some self-reflection and really take a look at how and why I was able to accomplish certain things, but some of the things that were most important to me, or that I had the greatest desire for, were not happening for me. Going through that process helped me to identify several steps that I believe are the difference between people who set goals and those who accomplish their goals, and the difference that sets apart people who dream from those who do. Here's my first question for you. What did you dream you would be when you grew up? I wanted to be the first woman president of the United States, and I wanted to be a lawyer and a soap opera actress. Not just on any soap opera, it had to be on General Hospital. Now, I was an average kid. I did well in school, but I had a mouth, and I had a little bit of an attitude to go with it. And I started to get some constructive criticism from my teachers. I talked too much. I remember getting a report card in the 4th grade. On one side, it had my academic grades, and on the other side, it had the evaluation of my social skills and my behavior. And for each criteria, there was a box for the teacher to place a check mark if there was a problem in that area during the marking period. So one of the criteria was too talkative. For this particular marking period, I had multiple check marks in one box. So I wasn't the normal too talkative kid, I was abnormally too talkative. Then in middle school, I started to hear your mouth is going to get you in trouble. And then in high school, you'll never get anywhere with that mouth. Now remember, I had dreams of being the president, a lawyer, and an actress, all things that will require me to use my mouth and be bold and fearless when speaking, and maybe even to speak with an attitude at times. So what do you think hearing that criticism for all of those years did to me? I learned to sit down and be quiet, and I became fearful of speaking in front of more than a few people at a time, because I thought that whatever I had to say wasn't valuable, and that I would be judged based on what I said. Now, I had some really good teachers who encouraged me and saw the potential in me, but somehow the words of the few who didn't drowned out the words of those who did. So let's fast forward a few more years. Whenever I had to give presentations in college or later in my career, I got extremely nervous. And I don't mean butterflies in the stomach nervous, I mean like wasps in the stomach nervous. My nose would run, my hands would sometimes shake, and I never thought that what I had to say mattered, which made me feel even worse. But when I did speak, I would get positive feedback, but it was hard for me to accept the compliments. I didn't believe what people said. I thought they were just being nice, trying to make me feel better. But when I had to make the decision about moving into doing the work that I really wanted to do, to go after my goals, knowing that it would involve speaking in front of people and sometimes really large groups of people, I also had to make the decision to get over what those teachers, counselors, even Sunday school teachers and the children's choir director told me. I had to decide that what I wanted for myself was greater than what they said I was, who they thought I was, or how I had been treated. I'm sure many of you have experienced something similar, being told that you couldn't do something or couldn't be something, or that your dreams or your goals weren't realistic. Maybe that no one from where you're from has ever done that, so how are you going to do it? And if you've never been told anything like that, that's great. But for those of us who have and actually bought into it and allowed it to shape who we are, or allowed it to keep us from doing the things that we want to do, it's time to get over it. That's our first step in moving from dreaming to doing. Get over. Getting over is about moving beyond your past hurts and pain, beyond what people said to you or what they did to you, to move towards your goals. It's about taking back your power and not letting that situation or that person keep you where you are. Whatever the situation was, whoever the person was, they're like a hurdle on your path to getting to your goals until you decide to get over it. They are blocking you and keeping you from making progress towards the things that you most desire in your life. Now, I want you to take a moment and write down the names of the people or the situations that you know you need to get over. Hit pause if you need to, but write this down. Now, once you've gotten over that person, that situation, the next step to move from dreaming to doing is to get on. Get on is taking action to move forward. Getting over the hurdle isn't enough. Now that you're on the other side of the hurdle, you have to get on with the journey toward your goals. Get on involves doing something. How are you going to move forward now that you've decided to? What action will you take? When explaining the steps to people, I like to use this example because most people can relate to it. Let's say you're in a serious relationship with someone and they did something to hurt you and you break up. For the following few months, you're miserable. You get upset every time you see that person, especially if they don't seem miserable or if they're with someone else. But now that you've decided to get over him or her, you stop getting mad when you see them. You may even speak to them now. But you're not ready for another relationship. You're afraid that someone else might hurt you. Letting go of the anger you had toward that person and the hurt that you were feeling as a result of their actions was getting over. But not being open to another relationship means you haven't decided to get on with your life. When you think about it in the context of your goals, you may have decided not to let the person who told you that you could never be a doctor or you could never own a business or no one would ever love you have that kind of power over you. But until you take action to make that goal a reality, you haven't actually moved on. Getting on might look like enrolling in college, changing your major to what you really want to major in. It might be moving out of the area. It might mean ending a bad relationship or opening up yourself to a new one, or sitting for that licensing exam again. Whatever it is, it's taking action to move forward. Now write down one thing you can do to demonstrate that you are getting on with living your life. Now I'm sure many of you either love football or basketball. You know someone who does. And how do we know that someone loves a sport? Because during the season, they're always talking about it. They want to watch as many games as they can. When they're watching the game, they don't want to be disturbed, and it's almost like they're obsessed. Now think about my oldest son who just graduated from high school. He's a football player, and for the past 3 years, his schedule had him up at 6:15, out of the house by 7. During football season, he was at school until 5:30, then catching the bus home. Outside of football season, he was home by 3, taking a 30-minute nap, grabbing a bite to eat, then out again to catch the bus into the city for football workouts. On the bus back home a few hours later, not getting home until 8:30 or 9 p.m., and still having to eat dinner and do homework, all while taking honor and AP courses, participating in community activities, and during his senior year, he worked a part-time job. Now, I don't know how he did it, but I know why he did it. He was obsessed with getting better at football, and he was just as obsessed with doing well in school. So he made the sacrifices necessary to do what he thought he needed to do to accomplish his goals. That's the third step in moving from dreaming to doing. Get obsessed. If you want to get serious about what you say is your goal, you will be obsessed about it. That means you will think about it a lot. You'll talk about it a lot. You'll research it. You'll ask questions about it. You will do the work necessary to get there, which means you'll have to give up other things that you want to do so you can do the things you need to do to get what you want. You'll give up some social activities so you can work on your plan. You'll skip lunch break with your friends to make phone calls to get the information you need. Maybe you won't buy those jeans or those shoes so you can invest in the training that you need. You should be so focused on your goals that people are telling you that you're getting on their nerves, always talking about it. It should be a priority for you, and the people who are closest to you should know that it's a priority. Get obsessed. Now, what's the most important goal you have right now? Write that down. Then write down the other things that you could be doing to help you achieve that goal.
Check out Divine Cuts in Newcastle, Delaware, promoting a family, faith-filled environment. Call or book your appointment online today.
You're likely familiar with the spiritual concept of sowing and reaping, or maybe you're more familiar with karma or the golden rule. All three concepts basically mean that you get what you give, and what goes around comes around. Let's apply that to your goals. Let's say you want to own your own business and you want to start building your network now and learning the real life skills you need to own and operate a business successfully. You don't have any real business skill or knowledge to speak of, so you need to get connected with entrepreneurs or find a business owner who will mentor you. And a good way to do this is through volunteering. I like to call this give out. This is the fourth step in moving from dreaming to doing. Give out is about finding ways to help others with whatever it is that you have to offer. You could find someone in the type of business you're interested in starting, or someone who simply has a successful business and offer your support to them. It could be running errands, helping them at events, a variety of things depending on what type of business they're in. And you do this without any expectation of return, but with the hope of a return, realizing that the return may not come through the person that you help directly. The goal here is to find a way to place yourself in the presence of those who are where you want to be, or to find ways to build your skills and expand your knowledge by helping others. I recently heard Ken Brown tell his story. Ken is from Chicago, and he had a dream of owning a fleet of hot dog carts. They were inexpensive to buy and had low overhead. He didn't know anything about the hot dog cart business, but knew enough to know that he needed to learn about the food industry and how to run a food business. He went to college, which was important, but he did something else as well. He took jobs in restaurants to learn what happened behind the scenes in restaurants. He came across a new restaurant that was opening, walked in and asked the owner if he needed any help, thinking the owner would make him an assistant manager or something more high level because he did have a college degree. The owner, however, hired him as a waiter. Ken took the position, and he was so good at what he did that customers would come to the restaurant and wait until they could be seated in his section. There was even one customer that came every week with his wife and would ask to be seated in Ken's section every week. Now, Ken would always ask the owners questions about things they did and decisions they made to understand the why behind the actions they took, like why they selected a particular type of flooring, or why did they lay out the dining room the way that they did. Now, one day he saw a flyer for a food industry job fair and decided to attend to pitch himself as a consultant to restaurants. When he arrived, he saw that it wasn't a food industry job fair, it was a McDonald's job fair. So he started to leave, but then opted to stay. And he found himself moving through a line of people to shake hands with what ended up being executives from the corporate office. He saw someone in the line that he thought looked familiar, but wasn't sure. When he got to that person, he realized who it was and got really, really nervous. He shook her hand and she said, "I know you." He said, "No, you don't." She said, "Yes, I do." And then she waved some other people over to where they were standing. And she said to those people, "We need him on our team." Now, this woman was the wife that came in with her husband every week and was served by Ken. What I didn't tell you earlier was that the husband always engaged in conversation with Ken, but the wife never said more than hello, ordered her food, and thank you. While she never engaged in conversation with Ken, she watched him. She saw who he was, his work ethic, and his people skills. And when she found herself face to face with him in her role as a McDonald's executive, she gave him an opportunity based on what she had observed. Now remember, Ken only took this job to learn what it was like to run a food business. His plan was still to own his fleet of hot dog carts. McDonald's, however, offered him a job managing 3 stores, which doubled their revenue in a year under his leadership. They then offered him the opportunity to buy 2 stores in Detroit with no money out of his pocket. He grew the revenues of those stores and sold them for a profit and is now a millionaire. All of that came from his willingness to serve, to give out for the opportunity to learn. Now, while he wasn't volunteering, he did take positions for which he was technically overqualified for the opportunity to learn what he needed to learn to accomplish his end goal. Identify ways that you can help someone else or some business or organization, realizing that when you do, someone will in return be willing to help you. Now, write down the name of a person, a business, or an organization that you could reach out to help that would either put you around people who can help you build your skills or in some other way help you related to your goals. That's step 4, give out. Ken also benefited from this final step, grab opportunities. You see, working at that restaurant and then for McDonald's weren't really in his plan, but they were great opportunities for him to expand his knowledge and develop his skills, and that would get him closer to his goal and make it more likely that he would be successful in his own business. There are 2 important things that you have to look for in this step. The first is to not let your need for control or your fear get in the way of taking advantage of opportunities. And the second is to not confuse a distraction with an opportunity. Let's look at control and fear first. Control is about wanting to dictate how everything will happen. Yes, you should have a plan, but trying to control everything means you're not willing to be flexible with your plan, and you're not willing to accept that sometimes things will happen differently than what you expect, that you may have to adjust to the circumstances, or that you simply don't know everything there is to know. Fear is about letting thoughts like, can I do it? Am I ready? What if I fail? Keep you from grabbing an opportunity. Distractions come dressed up as opportunities. They sound great, they look great, and they could be great, but they move you away from your goal instead of toward your goal. For example, let's say you have a full-time job and you're going to school part-time to earn the degree you need to transition into a new career, the career you've always wanted to be in. But you get called into a meeting with your supervisor, who then offers you a promotion. It's more money, it's better benefits, you get to supervise staff, it sounds great. But you no longer will have a straight shift, coming in at a specific time and leaving at a specific time. You may get called in early, you may have to stay late without notice. And you know that this will likely happen because you see it happen with the current supervisors. And with this schedule, you won't be able to stay enrolled in school, or you'll be limited to taking online courses. But you already know from a prior bad experience that online courses aren't really your thing. But I could use the extra money, but I'm so close to graduation, but it's better benefits, but I only have to stop classes temporarily, but the money is nice. It seems like a great opportunity, but is it really? Here are 7 questions you can ask yourself to determine if something is really an opportunity or if it's just a distraction. And feel free to pause and write these down if necessary. 1, is this related to my goal? 2, could this increase the knowledge or skills that I need to accomplish my goals? 3, could this help me meet people who will help push my vision forward? 4, could this propel me forward in the journey towards my goals? 5, have I been preparing for this opportunity? 6, will anyone die if I do this? 7, will I lose my job or damage a relationship with someone I love if I do this? If the answers to questions 1 through 5 are yes, and 6 and 7 are no, this is probably a genuine opportunity and you should really consider moving forward. I have that 6th question in there, will anyone die if I do this? Because we tend to find reasons why we shouldn't move forward. And this question represents the worst case scenario. Question 7 represents the second worst case scenario. If you don't have to be concerned about either of these, you can probably find a way to work through any other potential negative outcomes. So step 5 in moving from dreaming to doing is grab opportunities while avoiding distractions. Now, think about how you are spending your time. Write down anything that you're doing that is not helping you to accomplish your goals.
Bringing your creativity to life. We offer a variety of services in the areas of photography and videography. Videography services include weddings, music, commercial promotional materials, and much more. Photography services include engagements, weddings, family events, and much more. Contact us today by phone or email at don'tjudgemeprod@gmail.com. Be sure to like our Facebook page and follow us on Instagram at don'tjudgemeproductions.
The 5 steps that I shared with you today on how to move from dreaming to doing are from my recently released book, Go, 10 Powerful Steps to Accomplishing Your Goals and Living the Life You Desire. If you are serious about not only setting your goals, but learning how to overcome the challenges that will inevitably surface on your way to accomplishing your goals, and learning strategies that will keep you focused on your goals, you want to get this book. Go is designed to be a success coach in a book. It walks you through each of the 10 steps, then takes you through my coaching process, which includes the steps reflect, clarify, identify, and act. Go isn't a book you read, it's a book you do. You can purchase it at www.go10steps.com. That's www.10steps.com or directly from Amazon. Go, 10 Powerful Steps to Accomplishing Your Goals and Living the Life You Desire. Again, I'm Dr. Sharita Weatherspoon of Powerhouse Coaching and Mission Critical Consulting. You can learn more about me at www.sharitaweatherspoon.com and be sure to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Coach Sharita. It's been my pleasure to serve you. Until next time here on the Coach's Corner, go be great because you are.